Hey, what's going on everyone? Vega here for SerpentX Tech, and it's time for our summary video of the RX 7900 XT. We don't have the reference editions. We have the XFX Speedster Merc 310 GPU that we've been testing, so we haven't been bumping into those thermal issues that others have experienced. But I do have all the data posted on Reddit already, and I just want to go over that and talk again, summarizing my experience with this GPU. Of course, AMD drivers are crap at launch, so there's going to be some optimizations that still need to be done, not only with AMD and their drivers, but also with mining developers, because not all miners work. If we actually scroll down here towards the bottom of this post, you will see that LOL miner does work 1.65, but not all algorithms work. So it failed to mine on Ergo, failed to mine on Cortex, Eternity, Beam, Hash 3 and BitTube or Kaku Cycle, and then Team Red Miner doesn't work just yet. I have pinged the developers in their various discords to see what's going on, but we just gotta be patient. This is new GPUs, new architecture, and obviously it's going to take some time. I will have the Reddit link post down in the description below if you want to go check that out. But I experienced issues with drivers, obviously. I experienced issues where overclocking using the Radeon tool would not apply. So I talk about a trick or something that I did that I don't know if it's a trick, but it was able to get it working to where I can overclock the GPU or try to underclock as much as possible. Unfortunately, when you do custom overclocking and try to reduce the memory as much as possible, the lowest you could go is 2498. And we know with core intensive algorithms, you want to go negative on the mem as much as possible, but that's the lowest you could go right now, unless the more power tool or the Red BIOS editor makes an update. But they didn't update for the 6000 series, or they didn't do much tuning or customization that you could do with those applications with the 6000 series. So I don't expect them to do it with the 7000 series. Of course, you know, one of the biggest things were inconsistency. Right? When you set the clocks, I talk about it here in my live stream, which is also linked in the Reddit. When you set the clocks, even when you could finally get it overclocking or undervolting, it would still be inconsistent. One test, it would have a certain core clock, and the next test, it would have a different core clock. So it's not as consistent. Again, I think with AMD drivers, things will get better and better. Of course, with the 6000 series and this one, there is fast timings and default timings. With memory-intensive algorithms, go ahead and enable fast timings. And then here's the trick that I did in order to try to get the capability to overclock or adjust the clocks on this GPU. But EFhash on LOL miner 1.65 on driver 2212 versus 2212.1 versus 2212.2. There is a little bit difference. It feels like the first driver that came out was a little bit is pushing the voltage a little bit more, pushing the clocks a little bit higher. So on 2212.2, it kind of reduced a little bit, reduced the voltages. And I just stuck with the second version of the driver release. And we were able to get around 80.68 mega hash at around 308 watts at the wall stock. The best I could find temporarily, this isn't the best all around, but it was 66, almost 67 mega hash at around 225. 230, somewhere in there. I do have the wall and software numbers. You just got to scroll a little bit. ETC hash, basically the same, you know, 64, 66 mega hash, somewhere in there, around the same power draw. Not as good considering the 6000 series, the 6800, 6800 XT, 6900 XT, they all were basically hitting the max they could, which was 64 mega hash at a much lower power draw, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I don't have the number off the top of my head. I got a lot of GPUs I got to keep an eye on. But you're going to be disappointed with the overall results. Moving on, Caspa, you'll see it here. Yes, we're able to get over 1 giga hash, but we're sucking a lot of power from the wall, 209. What you'll notice, too, is I say stock mem. I don't actually put a number, whereas the other ones actually put a number. What you see in Radeon tool for the memory is it will not go above, it might fluctuate to like bounce up to 200 megahertz memory clock, but it will always be like below 100 megahertz memory clock. So it's not even touching the memory at all. It's a very core intensive algorithm. But 733 giga hash at 1850 core, leaving the mem alone. 0.720 millivolts was about 130 watts. Software 134, 135 from the wall. So a little bit better, but still, you know, is it exciting? You know, some of the 6000 series can get down to 90, 80 watts, 88 watts, somewhere in there, and still produce quite a significant hash rate. Ravencoin G Miner, again, comparing the two drivers on most of these algorithms. You can go and take a look a little bit deeper if you want. But 46 mega hash is about where it's at, 277 watts. There's probably some more fine-tune that is possible. I will update this Reddit post when I can. Flux 68.2 souls, around 220 watts. Bitcoin Gold or Zhash 115 souls at around 222 watts. Grin Cockatoo 32, again comparing drivers and different versions. You know, stock 1.4, 1.45 gigahash, but sucking a lot of power, 340. I was just able just now before this video to get it to 1.33 souls or hashes. At you know, playing around with the power limit, because you can lower the power limit. And I do add that in towards these lesser charts for these more core intensive app you know, algorithms. 250, 257 watts thereabouts. EVGA hash, I did test that out, kind of the same thing as we've seen with some of the other algorithms when you're kind of tuning and reducing the power limit. I did do some dual mining. So ETH hash and Blake 3, 60 mega hash and 752 mega hash at around 257 watts at the wall or 253 in software. ETH Caspa or K heavy hash, 60 again or 350 mega hash at around 255 software, 260 wall. Flux and G Miner was only getting 85 stock, 67 with a little bit of tuning. But at 213, 217 watts. Conceal, we're able to really push this thing stock. I have not done some actual tuning on this, but about it's 5,000 plus hashes for sure. But then you're drinking 300 watts plus on this algorithm. Now SRB Miner did come out with an update during this video, and so even though it says 2.0.0, I got the latest one. And I did some retesting. I had to do some retesting, but it's basically the same that we've seen. However, I was able to get 80.64 mega hash at 225, 215 watts. Let me go back up here to the top to LOL Miner. Yeah, so it's basically the same. And then you got some other algorithms here that we tested out. Now, Ergo is an outlier. When I used the NiceHash Quick Miner, for some reason, it was able to use Excavator, and it showed me 500 plus mega hash. And we know the 7900 XTX can get 700 something mega hash. I don't recall the power draw. So SRB Miner, I don't think is fully seeing this GPU and what it's capable of. And again, it doesn't work on LOL Miner. Team Red Miner doesn't work just yet. So I think once these drivers get optimized by AMD and the miners continue to make updates, that you'll go ahead and see additional improvements and so on. But I did do the lesser algos. I basically did the benchmark through Awesome Miner, and you can see here, if I move out of your way, all the various algorithms that were tested. Again, SRB Miner, Multi-Miner, Autolacos, but it was using Multi-Miner 1.1.4, so 139 mega hash, so it's not getting that full potential. Some of the Blake 2B, C11s, Kryptonite GPU, 5.38 kilohash, which is about 5,000 hashes, which is what we have. We got Haven, we got CPU Power, Cockatoo 32, Equihash 125, all the other algorithms that you like. So Ghost Rider 1.18 kilohash, so on and so forth on this chart here. And then while I was testing, we actually saw that WildRig Multi-Miner came out with an update, and here are those hash rates as well. So everything is going to be in this Reddit post. Here's showing you some of the issues I experienced with the drivers. What I would simply do is I would come to Radeon, I would hit custom, and I would try to drop the clock and hit apply, and it would just reset to whatever it's saying here right now. So even though I dropped it down to 2200 megahertz, it would jump back up to 2880, and then it wouldn't apply. But then when I restart the computer, it would apply, but then we'll come up with this error. The GPU detected configuration issue with the driver. Please reinstall driver. And that's basically it. You just needed to reinstall the driver. And then when you try to use the auto tuning feature up here, the undervolt GPU overclock or overclock memory, it just will always fail. So AMD definitely needs to make some improvements. However, in gaming benchmarks like testing on Haven, Time Spy, stuff like that, I was able to hit 3.3 gigahertz on the core, and I was able to push the mem up to almost 2800 megahertz. I wouldn't go above 2800, and that's something that I noted here, even in mining aspects, because if you try to go above 2800 on this GPU, you will wind up causing degraded performance. So I wouldn't do that. It looks like if I can get it right at 2797, which is what I did for most of my memory core intensive algorithms, I was able to sustain a decent hash rate without degrading performance. But again, I think there's still some fine tuning, some headroom that could be done once AMD drivers get optimized. So looking at the data that we have here, you know, What to Mine offers the capability to add custom GPUs. You know, if you come up here and you click custom, you're going to need to sign in, and then you have all the GPUs here. They already have the 7900 XTX and 7900 XT, but they don't have all the numbers. So I just selected this and I plugged in my own numbers, and you would see that if we look at this What to Mine incognito mode, that if we hit show more, the 7900 XT, even while it's showing in custom, is not available just yet because they're still doing testing. What to Mine and other mining calculators are still doing testing, so bear with them. And it's always going to be kind of like it's not a final number. It's going to be like a basis or default values. Obviously, each card is going to be different. Silicon lottery, thermal environment in general, stuff like that's going to impact your performance. But with the 7900 XT and the numbers that I have, some of the numbers I have, with a little bit of optimization and tuning that still could be better, we have Grin at the #1 coin to mine for it, and we're breaking even right on the cent. We're not negative right now at time of recording. We're making about 7.5 Grin a day, but we're not paying, you know, negative 20 cents, negative 30 cents in electricity a day at 10 cents per kilowatt hour. Obviously, this varies by region, state, country. Then we have Ryo, Conceal, so Kryptonite GPU, again, just like we seen with the 4090 GPU, those two coins, or Kryptonite _ GPU, were the top algorithm to mine, or the most profitable algorithm to mine for even the 4090 at time of filming. Things have changed. Market conditions changed. The market's actually pumping or doing better than what it was previously when I originally started doing my testing. So obviously the number's going to change. But I have all that written out. You can go to your favorite mining calculators, plug in the data, and make your own decision. Obviously, Kapow is a top contender, but we're negative 26 cents, whether it's Nyaxa or Ravencoin. And then Bitcoin ZZ Hash, negative 42 cents. Flux, negative 47 cents. Meowcoin, negative 33 cents. Another Equilibra coin or Kryptonite GPU coin, negative 45 cents. Bitcoin Gold, negative 50. Caspa, negative 36. So that's looking pretty good. So Caspa, Grin, Ryo, Conceal, maybe one of the Kapow coins are looking pretty good for this GPU if I want to get as much of of that cryptocurrency, right? You're looking at the value of cryptocurrency or the amount of cryptocurrency you're earning every 24 hours rather than the fiat value if you're willing to eat the electricity. But it's an underwhelming launch, right? The 7900 XT did not get promising reviews from the gaming aspect or the tech arena. And as far as GPU mining, what we've seen with like the 6000 series, there was no point, if you're just going to be focusing on mining, there was no point going beyond the 6800 non-XT, because the 6800 XT, 6900 XT, and 6950 all mined pretty much the same hash rate when it comes to ETH hash or Dagger hash. Obviously, there was some variance in the core intensive algorithms because of the differences, but was the 7900 XT going to be like basically the 7900 XT? No. It looks like the 7900 XT does have a little bit of an edge when it comes to a mining discussion, but we will see later on, because I have the 7900 XT coming up next. Just bear with me as I move through the paces with my work, family, and stuff like that. I'll get that data to you as soon as possible. But that's going to do it for today's video. Please do me a favor. Make sure to check out that Reddit link in the description. But on the way out, hit the like button. Make sure to get subscribed. Hit the notification bell to stay up to date, as well as check out links in the description. That'll support the channel, what we do here, because this took a lot of time on my part, away from my family, and just focusing on getting this data to you as quickly as possible. I know I'm late compared to when the launch actually happened, but I appreciate your patience, knowing that I have you know, a regular life, regular job to do besides just creating content for you guys. But I appreciate you nonetheless. You have a wonderful day. I'll catch you next one. Take care.